So, today we're diving into a really fascinating and, honestly, kind of creepy idea, the dead internet theory. It asks a simple question. In this massive digital world we all live in, is anyone you're talking to actually real? You know the feeling, right? You're scrolling through the comments, you get into some pointless argument, and the replies you're getting are just weirdly robotic. And you get this little chill, this thought that pops into your head. Wait a minute, am I even talking to a person right now? Well, guess what? You're not just imagining it. That feeling is real because the internet has changed. It's a totally different beast than it was, say, 10 years ago. It just feels less human, more repetitive, and sometimes, yeah, a little bit empty. And there's a wild theory that tries to explain why that is. And that brings us to the main event, the dead internet theory. It's a radical, all-encompassing explanation for that feeling of digital loneliness we all seem to share now. So what is it exactly? Well, the theory basically claims that the internet we all knew and loved, the one made by people, for people, effectively died sometime around 2016. And what we have now is a kind of high-tech illusion, where almost everything you see and everyone you interact with is actually a bot or AI-generated content. And what's really interesting is how specific it is about the timeline. Proponents say that before 2016 we had the human-centric web. But then, in that 2016-2017 window, something big happened that killed it off, leading to what we have now, the artificial web. So let's break that down. The theory really boils down to a few huge claims. First, that most of the users you see online are just bots. Second, most of the content, the articles, the memes, even the videos, is also made by AI. And the whole point of this massive fake internet? To control what we think, to manipulate public opinion, leaving just a handful of real people like you and me wandering through this digital ghost town. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This sounds pretty wild, right? Like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. But here's the thing. The reason this theory has so much staying power is because it's built on some very real grains of truth. So let's look at why it feels so believable. I mean, just think about your own experience. We know for a fact that bot accounts are a huge problem online. We're seeing AI-generated art and articles pop up literally everywhere. Our social media feeds don't show us what our friends post anymore. They show us what an algorithm thinks we want to see. And don't even get me started on search engines. It feels like every result is just some spammy, low-quality content farm. These aren't conspiracy theories. They're things we see every single day. And this isn't just a hunch. We've got the data to prove it. The major social media companies themselves admit that a pretty significant chunk of their user base isn't human. On some platforms, we're talking about as high as 15% of all accounts. So no, the internet isn't 100% bots, but a big piece of it is definitely, undeniably artificial. So, okay, the bot problem is real. But does that mean the whole internet is literally dead? Well, the actual story is a bit more complicated, but honestly, it's just as fascinating. This is where the theory kind of gets the details wrong. The AI back in 2016 and 2017, it just wasn't good enough to pull off something this massive. But here's the crucial part. While the theory might be wrong about the cause, the feeling it describes, that sense of alienation and fakeness, oh yeah, it absolutely nails that. It correctly puts its finger on a very real problem. So let's really map this out. That feeling that every article and every comment kind of sounds the same? That's not some grand AI plot. It's because of search engine optimization and algorithms that push everyone to create the same kind of content. Those interactions that feel so fake, they're driven by algorithms that are built to maximize engagement, not to foster genuine connection. And the reason the whole web feels so much smaller now, it's because just a few giant companies control almost everything. So you gotta see the internet not as a light switch that's either on or off, alive or dead. It's way more of a spectrum. Think about it. A small niche forum for people who collect vintage keyboards, that's probably like 95% real, passionate humans. But the comment section under a viral political news story, yeah, that's a whole different ballgame. And a website that was built from the ground up just to trick search engines, that might be almost entirely artificial. All right, so if we're living in this new, weirder, more artificial internet, what are we supposed to do? How do we find the real people in what sometimes feels like a digital ghost town? Because at the end of the day, the dead internet theory matters, not because it's literally true, but because it's the perfect metaphor for how so many of us feel. It perfectly captures this modern anxiety, this deep-seated feeling that you just can't trust what or who you're seeing online anymore. But here's the good news. All is not lost. You can still find the living, breathing parts of the internet. You just have to be a little more intentional. Look for smaller, tight-knit communities, like a niche Discord server or subreddit. Try to have more live conversations, like on a video call, where it's way harder for bots to fake it. And this is a big one. Actively follow individual people you trust, instead of just letting the algorithm feed you whatever it wants.
So look, the internet hasn't died. It's just evolved into something much weirder and more complex. Our challenge now isn't just about how to use the internet. It's about learning how to navigate this bizarre new world where the line between what's human and what's artificial gets blurrier every single day.
So, we've established the internet isn't truly a corpse, it's just different. And that leaves us with one last massive question. If its fate isn't already sealed, then who gets to decide what it becomes? Is it the giant tech companies, the algorithms, or is it us, the actual humans who are still here?